Salut les gars and welcome back to my channel. As you guys already know, I am studying here in a French university. Everyone here thinks I am an exchange student, but I am not. I am a fee-paying student in France. So I'm going to explain exactly how I got here and the process of applying to study at a French institution. So first of all, it's important to note there are two different types of institutions. There are the public institutions, which are the universities, and then there are the private institutions, which are the écoles. Now, I am at a public university, so I'm going to be talking about how I got into that. The écoles, they're more specialized, like there's the école de commerce, but I don't know much about that. So we're just gonna leave that for someone else to explain. At the universities, there are three different types of degrees you can get. The bachelor, so a licence, a master, and a PhD, so a doctorat. I'm in the process of completing my bachelor, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about how I got into that and yeah, everything you need to know. So first of all, the procedures for applying. Now, if you are French or European, the process is pretty simple. You just apply through an online site called Parcoursup. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. But anyway, and if you're a non-European, you'll go through the process that I had to go through, called EDEP, and it stands for Demande d'admission préalable. Blah, 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 blah. I hate this word. I can never ever pronounce it. Préalable. So deadlines. Now for Parcoursup, it's from January to April. However, for the DEP, it takes a bit longer. Applications open in November and you have to get it in by January. First of all, for the DEP, the documents that you need. Depending on your situation, there are 4 different kinds of situations, but these are the documents that all applications need. So number 1 is your birth certificate or a valid passport or identity card. Next, you need your high school certificate as well as your high school marks. Now, all of these documents have to be translated into French by an accredited translator. So yeah, that's pretty important. And then you also need to have a minimum level of B2 in French. So you can take the DELF, the DALF, the TEF. You have to have a certificate that's no older than 2 years. So yeah, recent. I did mine right before I applied, and yeah, another document you'll need is your letter of motivation. Yeah, so that just goes along with your application. Application tips. Now, on the DAP, there is a section called Vos motivations. So your motivations. They ask you a few questions about where you want to study and why you want to study and Very important because each uni will read this. Well, I mean, each uni will read this anyway, but they'll read this very intently and they'll pay a lot of attention to this part, as well as your letter of motivation. So make sure that your letter of motivation and basically your motivations in general, you have a pretty strong argument of why you want to study there. For the application, you have 3 choices. I believe with Parcoursup, you have 10 choices, but for the DAP, you only have 3. So you can choose 3 universities, 3 different universities with the same degree. You can choose the same uni in 3 different degrees. But just keep in mind you're competing against French students as well as every other international student that's applying. So I mean, if you're not completely set on a degree and there's other things, maybe you can change it up and just have options. And remember, you only have 3 options, so make a good choice. Research unis individually. I think it's really important that you keep in mind living costs, food, rent, etc. I mean, everybody's first idea is, I want to go to Paris. But Paris is a very, very, very expensive city to study in. So just keep that in mind when you're applying to universities. Just choose universities that, I mean, hopefully when you eventually get in, that it's possible for you to actually survive. Also because they're gonna ask for proof of blah, 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 blah when you apply for your visa, and you're gonna have it all set out. A really good website is the Campus France website, and they list everything about how to study in France and how it works. I'll put the link in my description. But yeah, no, that really helped me when I was applying. I wish someone had made a video like this when I was applying because I couldn't find anything. And you can also look at the embassy, the French embassy website in your country, although they will usually usually just link you to the Campus France website anyways. When it comes to receiving offers, how it works is each uni will respond at a time. So obviously you have your 3 preferences. The first uni will get back to you mid-May, and if they give you an offer, then you can accept it or decline it. I don't know why you would decline it if it's your first preference, but anyway. If you don't get an offer, however, they'll still send it to you and let you know that you didn't get an offer, and then they will send that to the next uni, so your second preference. It's a month wait between each one usually. If you don't get into your second one, then it gets passed into the third, etc, etc. Obviously there are only 3 options. I'm pretty sure how it worked is they told me May like 14th or 15th that I was going to get my offer by then. They didn't get back to me, so I called the uni and I was like, hey guys, just wondering, where's my offer at? Yeah, they said, oh right, you just have to wait, we'll get to you soon, da 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 da. Anyway, the next day I got an email at like 5 AM in the morning and I got my offer for the first uni that I chose, so I was very happy. If you don't get any offers, not that I've heard of anyone that's happened to, but if that does happen, there's always next year. You can always apply the year after. You can come over here and do a language course, like, you know, studying at a university isn't all that there is to come over. Tuition's pretty important. Now, the good thing about public institutions here is that the government sets the price and it is basically free. For French and non-European students, studying for a year in a bachelor is 170 euros, so that's very good. However, last year, the government brought in a new side note and they said any non-European student has to pay, I think, a couple thousand euros. And I was like, luckily my university, they emailed me at the beginning of last year and they said, no, we're waiving those fees, it's fine, you can just pay the normal amount. And I was like, because I did not expect to have to pay thousands of euros. So basically it just depends on the uni. It's up to the uni individually whether or not they want to make their non-European students pay more. But luckily I have a very nice uni, so that's good. I think I've covered most of the important things. If I haven't, or if you have any questions, just comment down below and I can get back to you, but I think that's all. Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess it's time for me to say ciao amigos and bis bald.